Here is a question, she says, or a member of the community says, I've got a career question. I don't know if you're a full-time author or not, but in your authoring journey, how did you get where you are? As in, what kind of job path and other things did you follow or did you do to get to where you are right now? I really want to be a full-time author, and I would love some advice on what kind of path or major or any type of advice really that would get me going down the author road. And the reason why she wants to be a self-published author is that it has the most payback or profit that one might need for a job, and being self-published means you can keep all of your rights from traditional publishing. All right, so let me just think about that for a second. There's a lot in there. I don't know that I'm the best person to answer that question because uh, I am self-published. I wouldn't say that I'm a bestseller. Certainly not anything like that. There are some people who are full-time authors. I just chatted with Keith Hayden on the channel. He is somebody who writes almost full-time. There's a couple of full-time authors in our Legend Fiction community, so they may have some pretty good advice. But in terms of setting it up as a career, what kind of job path and things do you follow? So I think there's two different ways to go about this, looking at conventional way that we look at things in the culture. One is you just decide you want to do it and you go and you start doing it. The other route is you go and you get a degree in it. And the benefit of going and getting a degree or taking an online course is to short circuit all of the learning mistakes in the experience. And so you just go and you learn the mechanics of how to write and how it works and how the market works. And you just get all of that studying done. And you basically pay somebody, pay a university or pay to get a degree in it to not go and make all of the mistakes and have to figure it out yourself. Now, that's how things have been for most people because you didn't have things like the internet and YouTube and podcasts and communities and self-paced courses. None of that existed before. And so most people will go to college. Unfortunately, colleges have become so incredibly priced out of what most people can afford. So my recommendation, which I think is actually can be more helpful anyway, if you don't have a lot of income anyway, is just start writing on your own. You literally need to write constantly, every single day. Build a habit of writing daily. And it could just be, I'm going to write 100 words a day, or I'm going to set a timer and sit for 10 minutes in front of a blank Word document until I can get one word out. Okay, fine, I'm done. What you're doing is, if it's something that really matters to you, here's how you know that it really matters to you. You show up and you write. And you do that. You don't keep wanting to do that. So if you want to write, you have to actually do writing. Now, you don't have to share it with anybody. I think a couple of ways to sort of ease into it, if it works for your personality type. I think that dream journaling is probably a pretty vital thing. I think that's going to be a standard recommendation I make for everybody. Dream journaling, I think, is really important to do. It does a couple of things. You're signaling or you're telegraphing to yourself that you're paying attention to your imagination, you're paying attention to your intuition, because in the dream state that we go into, almost, I think every night, just a bunch of nights you don't remember. When you keep signaling to your psyche and to yourself that you are paying attention to that, your memory can get stronger, your imagination can get clearer, and your psyche can build more confidence to know that it can communicate things to you because you are listening. You may remember your stories better. Also, you may just get interesting or new ideas from the stories that, or from the dream events that you get into. So that's one. Dream journaling is good. Journaling, just building a habit of writing down what you think routinely. I think that that is a good idea. Now, I've not done it recently. I used to do it. Looking back, I realized it was really helpful during that time. I was just talking with, like I mentioned, Keith Hayden on the channel, and he's did that for years. And it can be, and it is a fantastic way to organize your own thoughts and to find out what you think. I think in a similar way, sometimes I'll blog or I'll, on my own YouTube channel, chat through stuff that I'm thinking. It's kind of a way to journal. I'm just not doing it, as intentionally. So I'm sure if you Google that, people will have lots of really good recommendations, even prompts on how to journal. The most important thing is you are organizing your own thoughts and you are learning to do it through writing. Now, in my case, for the last 10 years or so, I really wasn't doing a lot of fiction writing. I would do it in occasional spurts, but I wasn't doing too much of it. So what I did do was focus on every form of writing that I would do, trying to get better at it. So I ended up doing a lot of copywriting. So I wrote a lot of blog articles and social posts and emails. And so I was trying to master the craft of how can I write better, better, better? Because if I can learn to do that, it can become more effortless. And then I'll enjoy it more because it's now a muscle that I've built up. It's a habit that I've built up. I can jump on that bike and I can ride it anytime without having to think. I can build up confidence in myself. So I now have, or at least try to have, a tighter, slightly more poetic writing style. And every email that I write or every blog post that I write often tries to be very tight and very succinct. Sometimes my wife will come and go, "Hey, that's so brief, it almost seems mad. You should probably add a little bit of fluff to make it a little more human." So I've learned to use emoji and actually kind of warm it up a little bit. Um, okay, so that's just building up the habit of writing. So if you want to become a full-time author, you have just got to become comfortable with writing across all kinds of different things. Now, if you do want to be an author, you have to look at if you want to be a full-time author, you need books to sell. Today, you either have to go and land a bestseller deal or, which is very hard to do, if you, like Thomas just mentioned earlier in this conversation, when you finish publishing a book and you go to get it traditionally published, it can be years before it actually gets to market. You can get an advance from some of them. I don't have experience getting into the traditional publishing world. I'm just too impatient for it. I just self-publish. So therefore, I have to go and learn a bunch of other skills, like my own marketing, or how to collaborate, or how to make friends, or how to get on podcasts, or to get interviews, or to have build up all of my own marketing resources. I think I kind of like more of that adventure. I feel not only that I have a little more control, I also learn a lot more. I build all of my own friendships, build my own mailing list, which frankly is what a traditional publisher today, I keep being told, it is what they want to see and what they're looking for. So that's good to be doing anyway. If you want to be a full-time author, you need to write and you need to probably keep writing a lot. You can't just put out one book, you probably need to put out a bunch of books. I actually really like a recommendation, which is what is it? 50, 50 books to 100K, I think is a methodology. And I've interviewed Tom, I think his name's Tom Epperson. He's on my channel, where he talks about this whole process about when you're trying to become a full-time author. He's somebody who's actually, when I last checked in with him, he and two of his sons, they got together and decided, we're going to do that. We're going to figure out how to be full-time authors. The goal for them was, you can sort of break down the numbers. If you need 100K a year to live, then how many books do you need? And I think that they discovered is you need something like 50 books. So the challenge is to find out what you need to do to get 50 books as fast as possible online. And that may not be the right number. You can Google it. The point is, for most of us, we're just so focused on just writing the one book and just getting that done and making it perfect. And then we linger over that and then very slowly perhaps start the next book. That's great. But if you're trying to put the pressure on yourself of, I want to be a full-time author, you have to get through that first book as fast as possible. So how do you do that? Well, you have to build up writing confidence. How do you do that? You literally have to write and get to a point where you're writing as regularly as you can and you're putting out stuff that you feel good about, right? When you write stuff, I remember doing this when I first moved to the United States. I had written a story and I printed it out. And I remember going over it with a red pen. And the challenge in my mind was, how do I say what I want to say in as few words as possible? I need to get rid of every single wasted word. And it was a pretty brutal exercise, but it taught me more about saying what I want to say. And then the next stage after that was, when I go to write, one, either never repeat myself or a description that I used in another story. So I'm always kind of forcing myself to think of a new way to say something without being weird. Or two, never rely on cliched statements. Try to actually say what you want to say. Otherwise, you're just stringing together tons of phrases that you've read in books and that other people have used all over the place. And that's not really helping you discover or bring out your own voice. So that's stuff you just need to practice. How do you do that? I just recommend journaling is excellent. Writing short stories, learning how to master a short story. I think that if you can figure out, and I used to tell myself, oh, I can't do short stories. They're so hard. And then I finally cracked it. It was kind of like learning how to write essays in high school. I did it wrong for years, years, years. And finally, the last year of high school, realized, oh, I know exactly what they're looking for. They're not looking for anything creative. They're literally looking for someone to fill in the blanks and then just give it in. And then I got to college for my first year of college, and I got really good grades for writing because they asked, give me an essay that's like this. It's like, just fill in the blanks. And I don't have to actually Be creative. Well, it's almost the same thing with a short story. Is you learn there's beats and there's setups and then there's stakes and then there's climax and there's outcome, and it's all got to connect together, and it's ideally got to finish. And it's not like hinting at a whole bunch of other things. It's not leaving a ton of things unresolved. Now, I'm not going to say that I've got it figured it out perfectly, but practicing how to write short stories helps you to finish things, and that is an essential kind of vital step for being an author. You got to learn to finish something and then be on the other side of it's done. And then you share that. I do think it's good to find a group of people who you trust, who you like, who maybe like you, who give you good feedback. And it can be positive and kind feedback. It doesn't always have to be harsh critique. In fact, I would avoid people who are professional critiquing because, especially when you're getting building up, you don't have the strength on the to tell the difference between when something is directed at you versus directed at your craft versus a harshly said effort at encouragement. We're such a bunch of softies and so sensitive on the inside, most of us. This is one reason why in the legend fiction community, we've made a rule where no negative critiques. We're going to encourage and point out how good you are at doing something. Because I remember getting that when I was starting out writing and I posted a story at an online forum and somebody came and gave me some feedback about what I was good at. And I was so grateful to have good feedback that I went and doubled down for the next 10 years on getting better at the thing that I was good at, because that's how I can be a good writer, right? And I think I'm pretty good at it now. I'll let you all decide. But positive feedback is really helpful. So learn to write regularly. That's pretty essential. Surrounding yourself with the kind of people who are doing it constantly, which is why we have the writing community, can make that easier. Learn to finish what you start. So, writing short stories is such a great little exercise for here's an idea, done, because then you can learn to structure your chapters like that as well. Instead of a chapter kind of meandering and you don't know kind of where it ends, you can learn to structure chapters so that you're excited to get all the way through them because you can clearly see the end and write towards it, maybe end on a cliffhanger or close off an idea, and then you can start a new one. You're making it easier for yourself to understand the process of writing. You learn those building blocks. You put in like 1,000 words a day, 500 words a day within 3 months, within 6 months, novel is done and you're writing the words the end or end of part one. If you're like a beginner author, it's always a trilogy. A magical thing is you get through it. There's a fantastic sense of satisfaction of getting through your first novel. I literally put off writing the climax of my novel for a year because I had a job change and I couldn't bring back the energy to finish writing that story. And then one day, all of a sudden, it was there and I went and wrote it and then started the re editing process and then stopped and I need to go back and finish. The thing is, to be a full-time author, you got to get comfortable with writing. Because you look at anybody else who is a full-time author. What do you see them do? They're writing. They're writing constantly. Whether you go to college or not, you will need to be writing. So that's something you have to get comfortable with. If you can't do that, you either have to decide for yourself how much are you prepared to sacrifice for this goal? Because it is possible to win at it. And we see a lot of people who have. There's now a fantastic opportunity in the market where self-published can win as much as traditional published authors can. And in fact, we're even seeing big movie producers are fishing carefully through self-published authors to find out if there are diamonds in the rough that can be then turned into the new stories that we're all looking for. So there's a really fun opportunity for self-published authors. All right. So what kind of path or major or any type of advice to get down the author path? Honestly, I think that's basically it. Now, like I said, you can go and I think you can get a degree in writing, and that can be really fantastic for creating a highly focused environment where you learn the mechanics and you're partnered with a bunch of other people who are focusing on taking it really seriously. You probably will want to be writing the whole time anyway. Or if you're like most of us, start writing right now and write badly and have fun, create habits around a specific time in your day. Accept the fact that maybe you're going to have a ton of ideas and that's okay. Fill up your journals or create an online, batch of Word documents or a note-taking system or something and just start saving all of your ideas. Learn a couple of methodologies for how to get through something, such as, save the cat, or what's the other one? Take off your pants as another writing methodology, or coffee break screenwriter is an awesome, simple kind of methodology. Something you can also do is, which is what I will often do, is go to chat, for example, chat GPT, and say, here's my idea for a story. Here's how I think I want it to structure it. organize my thoughts and give it back to me in an outline and help me see stuff that I missed or how can I make it better. And that can be insanely helpful for helping to give you an idea of where your story could go and where to make it stronger. And if you don't like chat, that's fine. Grab a friend and war game it with a friend. Sometimes knowing where you want to go so that you can either write towards that ending or write against that ending or figure out where the story wants to go as you progress towards that ending, that can give you the confidence to keep going if you have no idea what your ending is or why the story matters to you at all. You'll probably have a hard time writing that story. And some people will do that and they'll write a ton, and they'll, go all over the place and you end up doing a ton of editing afterwards because you're free writing, you're discovery writing, and some people are amazing at that. For most people, I think it's important to have a plan and understand how you want to structure your book. And then once you've learned the rules, you can then decide how to apply them to you. I don't think it's about know the rules so that you can break them. It's like, no, learn the rules so that you know when to apply them to you and your situation or not. So once you've got that down, and obviously that's going to be your career, writing forever and ever, right? Every single day, finishing a book, starting a new one, maybe having multiple books going at the same time. Or like we just chatted with Thomas earlier in this conversation, if you are writing, sometimes you have multiple projects going on. You'll decide, well, I don't need to, my energy is not here for this novel. I'm going to go and finish working on this one. You might be bouncing a couple of different ones at the time. If you're hyper creative, kind of like me, that can actually be one way to keep your creative juices going and flowing because you have multiple different things to think about. It's not for everybody. Then as far as becoming a full-time author, to finish answering that question, to get where you are, you may have to take another job, like a part-time job for a while to build up a skill to learn how to do something. If I can make a recommendation, it's actually the path that I followed, which is I figured out you can apply your love for storytelling to branding or to marketing or to helping a client or a business tell their story in the market. So you could go to your like somebody at your parish or your local, business community center or something and learn about brand storytelling. So if you've never heard of it, grab a book called, what is it? Build a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Grab that book, read it in a weekend. And then all of a sudden you'll see, wait a second, everything that we do in stories, we also do that over in business and marketing. And it's going to be valuable for you to learn to do that for yourself. But you can also take what you learn in that book. As a storyteller, you could be an absolutely amazing person to help somebody else with it and get paid for it too. Now, you could go on to get Story Brand certified, which is a little bit expensive and extremely cool. And then people will be knocking on your door and wanting to hire you. Or you can just take that book and then you can go to a friend, somebody who's starting a business, and you can talk them through their brand. Who's your kind of a Gandalf or a Yoda figure. And you're here to help somebody else on the adventure of their life. And your brand helps them solve a specific problem so they can win at their adventure, win at their life. If you help, for example, your client, this could be your uncle or your friend or your dad's business or your parents' business or your grandparents' business. Walk them through those talking points or those ideas. And then maybe you help them write that out. Go, here's your story. You can put this on the about page of your website. You can put that on your social networks, right? When you help them tell their story to their audience better, I think storytellers can be fantastic at this. We've forgotten that is what marketing is. It's like a love letter. I love this approach. Marketing is a love letter to the people that you help to serve. Marketing is an act of service to people that you want to help. And telling your story is how a brand can stand out, win better clients, better customers, make more money, perhaps even charge more. So storytellers have a really cool superpower that most other people don't have. Most other people have no idea how to think in terms of story. All they're thinking of is, well, I do stuff and people give me money for it. And the storyteller comes in and goes, well, this is going on in your client's life and they're the hero. This is going on in their life. And then you show up and you're going to help them do something really cool. And then they're going to win at life and enjoy life more. And they're going to trade money to you for a chance to fix their lives and enjoy life more. And so you write out that story and you can help them accomplish that. You then learn how to do that for yourself. And then you can start looking at yourself from the outside as well. If I'm an author, I want to help people think this kind of way or achieve this kind of success in their life, or I want to discover this particular way to help people accomplish something in their life. And this is why I write stories. And so you then look at the novels, the stories that you're writing, and you can start to see the through line. You can start to see the key through all of them and decide, this is why writing matters to me. And then if you can own that, you can then put that on your website. And you can start sharing people with that. I am an author because this matters to me, and I'm going to keep showing up through my stories with this kind of message. Now, you might have a bunch of different ones. Um, leave that until you get to actually finishing and writing. So, write a bunch. I do think it's probably smart to get a job to get some business expertise. Almost anything. Learning how to deal with other people, how to take orders, how to get stuff done, even if it's only part time or for a little while, it's going to help take some of the pressure off of you so that you can show up and just sort of brain out and do that, or maybe learn skills. And then when you come back to writing, you're fresh and you can just focus on writing. If you go into writing from day one with no skills and a whole ton of pressure and maybe a deadline where you got to be out and you have to support yourself with writing, you either have to pull a ton of energy out of, and maybe you've got this already. And if you do, that's incredible. There are authors who have done this. I don't know that most of us can show up and decide, starting today, I am going to write every single day and I am going to learn how to publish maybe every other day the things that I am writing. And I'm going to get a novel done like every 3 months, every 6 months, maybe. I'm going to get a ton of either traditional publishing deals, or I'm going to teach myself how to self publish, and I'm going to grow an audience by learning how to be really interesting so that other people will follow me and want to follow me and get on my mailing list and follow my podcast. There are a bunch of skills that you have to learn. And if you're in high school or if you're in college, it can feel like a lot. What you can also do is join a community of people who are trying to figure it out with you. And that can make your job or maybe your life easier. So, for me, I didn't know how to market anything. I stopped writing fiction for about 10 years and I went and side quested in learning how to market. And I found a bunch of incredible authors who changed how I thought, changed my mind about marketing. And now that I've learned some of that, now I can come back and feel more confident about this idea of, I think I want to write full time. So this was a whole bunch of hopefully something that was interesting. I hope that it answers your question about how to be a full time author or not. There's probably other people who have a ton of much better answers. If you do, please go ahead and say hi in the comments, and hopefully we can be really helpful. Last little point that you make, you've said that you can lose the rights to your book if you go through a traditional publishing house. That I don't know. Maybe some people have experienced that. There can be, you have to read the fine print. There are some where they lock down your rights for a period, and then you can buy them back or you can get them back later. This is one reason why self-publishing can be valuable. There are traditional, conventional publishing situations that are actually taking on self-published works even after they've been self-published and successful for a little while. They're now changing their admissions policies and stuff so that you can still get traditionally published even after you've been self-published. So things are changing and they are adapting. Staying on top of it is a pretty valuable thing. If losing your rights and losing control of your book is an issue for you, then that just may not be the right way to go. So learning how to self-publish can create a whole lot of freedom. It's something you can do in an afternoon as soon as you hit the end, assembling your book and then just getting it up online. Technically, that's kind of the easy part. It's not as hard. You hire a nice cover designer, get your book laid out. You can do that for free, upload it to Kindle for free. And then the magic is going out and finding an audience or getting on, podcasts or partnering with other people. And this is going to be my last pitch as we sign off for today. This is one major reason why we've started a new section inside Legend Fiction. So apart from the general community where it's like, let's all write stories together, we've now created a collaboratory. It's like a collaborative laboratory where we can test and build our ideas together on how to write and publish and sell more and market better. There are so many new tools out there, and there's so many websites that help authors do this stuff. So we're trying to find a way to pool this together and make it easier. So you can visit legendfiction.com. You can check that out. You can start a 30-day free trial to join the community. Hit the drop down. You can explore the more section. It's got the collaboratory on there. And we were just chatting earlier on this stream with Thomas and Gianna about all of that stuff because they are people who love writing and they also are either love marketing or they're trying to figure it out. So if any of this has been helpful, please go ahead and say hi in the comments. I would love to have a chance to answer your questions or just reply to your questions. I don't know if they're always going to be answers that you're satisfied with, but I can give you my thoughts on them.